I grew up considered poor white trash just like many other white folks in this country, sometimes eating out of dumpsters and living off of ramen noodles and a five-finger discount. My family went through evictions and I moved more times than I can count before the time I was 18. I joined the military out of high school to keep from staying poor white trash. Although I spent a decade in the military, I'm back to being considered poor white trash. I have Section 8 and food stamps. Sometimes I do have to hit a food pantry. Sometimes I don't have gas. I can't afford an attorney to fight for my child. I do struggle, but I don't struggle because I'm black. I struggle because I'm in poverty. If I was black, I would have to deal with poverty plus racism. Sure, privilege is probably not the right word to be using whenever it comes to white privilege, because being treated like a human is not a privilege, it's a right. But when you're being treated like you're human, to those who are being treated like they're less than human, it looks a lot like privilege. Learn up.
We are going to lose everything in this country because of one con man. One con man. No one will stand up to him. No one will say that you can't do it this way. No one will say that's not the way we do things here. We are losing our democracy. We are losing our economy. We've already lost all our allies. We are the laughingstock of the entire world. And soon we're going to lose all our money. We're well on our way to losing all of our rights because of one con man. Because of one con man who should have been done after January 6th. Traitors try to overthrow the government. And it's beyond me how he was even allowed to run again. But it is even more beyond me that people voted for him. And now it seems perfectly clear that he is on the Epstein list. I just saw a boat go by with the Felon 47 flags on it. He can do no wrong. He will make an excuse for every single thing. And I hope you're still making the excuses when you are penniless in the street, because then he's going to pick you up and put you in some sort of institution because it's no longer legal to be homeless.
Hey TikTok, I'm just on here wondering if anybody's feeling the same way I'm feeling. I'm from Illinois and I feel like the gas prices and the electric bills and the prices of food is just so overwhelming anymore. Like, I'm wondering if anybody else is feeling like they're drowning and they can't get out. I work overtime and I cannot get above water. I mean, I literally have no gas for next week. It was either that or get a few groceries to get by. I hit my local food pantries. I'm just wondering if anybody else feels like they're drowning. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day.
When you are on the top of the hill, you know, when you're on top of the hill, you don't have to forget one thing. The valley is just below. So when you're up there, remember there's down here, right? So this proverb speaks directly to the issue that many rural communities that voted in Trump believed they had reached a place of strength, a place of security, by clinging to the promises of Donald Trump, right? But they are discovering that beneath the appearance of pride and prosperity that was promised by Donald Trump, there are valleys of hardship, bankruptcy, high cost, and economic fragility that cannot be ignored. We shall also have a deep critical analysis to try and dissect the problems that might have been caused by all these. Yes, let's dive in. I shall share with you my thoughts.
Just thinking this morning about our country and late-stage capitalism and the cost of living and how much money everyone has to make to even afford to have a family these days. And it's what, like $250,000 minimum? Yeah, John and I have 2 kids and we don't make close to that. Not even close. Try like at least $100,000 less than that. So we're barely making it, and we have 2 good, high-paying jobs as an electrical engineer and a nurse. Now, everyone always says, like, they make so much money. You guys should be doing so much better. They don't make that much money, okay? And the fact that the wages haven't gone up with inflation means we've been getting pay cuts basically the last 4 years. So we're not doing okay. Nobody's doing okay in this economy. This is what we're so upset about. And then you add in authoritarianism and fascism on top of that. Like, what kind of country are we leaving for our kids where we teach them it's okay that they go to school and then their friends are missing the next day because they were rounded up by ICE? This is not an okay world. This is what I don't want to leave my kids. This is what I want to protect them from. This is one of the reasons why we're moving to Europe. I'm tired of it. I haven't even touched on healthcare. That's a whole other story that we've spent over $10,000 a year on for the last 4 years. Childcare, $24,000 a year. Just so that I can go to work and not spend time with my kids. It's fucking insane. How does anybody live in this world? Like, how does anybody make that $250,000 every single year to just, like, be okay? I don't know anyone else except for, like, doctors who are doing fine. What are we going towards? What is the end goal here? Like, is anybody else as upset as I am seeing everything that's going on? I mean, I'm just ranting this morning. Sometimes I'm just getting in my thoughts and my feels, and I can't believe that this is the reality that we're living in right now.
Right now, the rural parts of America, such as a state in Missouri, they are really having a hard life over there. And these are people who voted for Trump 2.0, despite Trump showing them who he was in Trump Part 1. They still voted for Trump Part 2, right? So this video, we are going to listen to their grievances, have an understanding as to why this is happening so to them.
What I'm about to say is probably going to make you sick, but you probably need to hear it. You're not bad with money. America is really this expensive right now. But let's talk what it really costs to be average in this America. The average American household income is somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000, in that range. And after taxes, a lot of these people bring home anywhere from $40,000 to $55,000, which is not very much. Daycare for 2 kids costs upwards of $27,000 a year, which leaves, give or take, 19-ish grand to live off of. Breaking it down even further, that leaves about $350, give or take, a week for living expenses. And most people's household costs are well above that. The average household grocery cost right now is $800 to $900 a month. An average 3-bedroom apartment is upwards of $2,100 a month. I saw something recently that said that the most comfortable livable income would be anywhere from $175,000 to $220,000 to be able to live comfortably. So no amount of eating ramen noodles or cutting out Starbucks or starving is going to change that. Our system is broken 110%. And we still continue to climb that ladder, hoping for better tomorrows. We think with that broken thought process that if we keep climbing, we're going to find the top. What we happen to have forgotten is that we have met that debt ceiling a long fucking time ago. So if you voted for the Make America Great slogan, please let me know how this makes America great. Is this adding up for you? Because the cost of egg prices are not getting better. The cost of gas is not getting better. None of this is getting better. And if this isn't adding up for you, welcome to my page. I definitely think you are the bigger part of America who is suffering from the consequences of this administration. The math is not mathing for me currently. So if you're also feeling the burn, hit the save button, share it out, follow me, help support another average American that is out here just trying to supplement her income.
This comment is so powerful and so real, and now hear me out, because I know some people may not agree, but I want you to have an open mind. I truly believe white people are the greatest victims of America. Like, they are the ones that are being hurt the most. And the sad part is they don't know, because they were strategically brought up in a system that is supposed to benefit them. But I need you to understand that, like, abuse is not just physical abuse. Like I said, it's not just people being bombed and not having their basic needs met. Honestly, I think emotional and mental, psychological abuse is worse than physical abuse, because a bruise can fucking heal and shit like that. Trauma cannot, bro. And clearly trauma comes from, like, you know, being bombed and stuff like that. And I've never been in that experience, so I'm not going to speak for it. I can only speak for what I have experienced in America. Imagine growing up in a country where it was legal for you to be racist. It was okay for you to believe that a race is beneath you and you treat them less than a human. That was legalized. There were places where white people went somewhere and people of color went somewhere. And then out of nowhere, because I don't know, maybe because we had to go to war and America knew they needed black soldiers, things just changed. And then the laws changed. And then white people were literally, there was never a conversation with these individuals. I'm not saying all white people are like this, I'm talking about the ones that grew up in a society where it was legalized to be fucking racist. There was never a conversation saying, like, hey, y'all, this wasn't okay. I don't know what was wrong with y'all ancestors, but let's talk about it. Let's get through it. Let's work through it, like other literal continents have. I've seen countries in Europe who address their racism and slavery, and they address it to the point where they're like, this will never fucking happen again. The simple fact that we don't address it, and then we turn on white people saying, you're weird. Why are you a MAGA? Why are you someone who hates black people? Take the color and stuff aside, as a human, that's fucked up. You made it okay for me to be this way. You set up systems where it's okay for me to be this way. And in the moment it doesn't benefit you anymore, now I'm the fucking problem. You guys made white males the epitome of success and power, and then turned on those motherfuckers and said, y'all don't have a right to express how you feel because you have privilege. They weren't born asking for this privilege. You set that up for them. And then now you want to turn on them and then wonder why most mass shooters in America are white men. Because these motherfuckers don't know how to deal with their emotions, bro. And don't get me started on white women, and I don't think you one of them, Amy. You like an Anne Hathaway, one of the good whites. But imagine being a white woman in a household with both of your parents, right? And the most dominant energy is your fucking toxic father. But at the same time, you're being taught that you have to be passive because you're a woman. Your place is in the kitchen. Guess what happens? That woman grows up with the most dominant energy, which is being aggressive, but is taught that you have to be passive. That's why we have Karens. This isn't just people wanting to wake up and be fucking hateful. This is a psychological fucking breakdown in a human being.
They're trying to crash the economy so that they can buy everything up for pennies on the dollar. And they want to get rid of any public services that our tax dollars pay for and privatize them so they can profit on that too. But they'll still take our tax dollars, and then we'll pay them more for less. That's the whole plan. We'll be indebted to our government that will own us. That's how Russia started to become what they are. They own everything, and you live and work and struggle and pay everything to them just to survive. Yeah. Doesn't that sound fun? Yeah. Prices keep going up. Salaries aren't going up. Everything's so expensive. The numbers, the jobs, the economy, everything is being kept from us. That's what's happening. We're making rich people rich, and they're making us poor. That's hot. That's the hottest. We're the hottest country. We're so hot. I think that means we're burning up. Yeah.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. All these videos on this app about how in 3 weeks the grocery stores are going to be empty, good. Fucking let that fucking play out. Okay? Take some precautions, but let that shit play out. Farmers on this app boo-hooing because they're losing their farms, fuck all the way off. What did you think was going to happen? Joe Biden bailed you out, then you turned around and voted for Trump. So yeah, I'm glad that all your government grants and bailouts and farmer welfare got taken away from you. And I hope to God a Democrat buys your land and is profitable. Truckers. Oh my God, the amount of truckers on my algorithm right now boo-hooing that they don't have any loads, which by the way, at first is kind of funny. But what? 90% of you voted for this. What the fuck did you think was going to happen when he tariffed the whole world and there was going to be no product to move around the country? Hello? Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm scared to death of the fucking shitstorm that we are all about to fucking walk through. And the longevity of those empty shelves fucking keeps me up at night. But the only thing that keeps me going is that any day it could happen.
I'm going to bitch about where I live for just a minute. So if you want to hear the downsides of living in a cabin in the woods, this is definitely a big one. All of my neighbors are MAGA, okay? So they're all, and that sucks so bad. They're not friendly. They're not. I wish they were. They are not. There's a lady that bought the house that is right next door to me. And it's right next door by being a ways away. She's from California. As soon as she bought the house, she paid a service to come over and start taking out these probably 150, 200-year-old trees. So she probably took out 100 of those trees. So it was just very loud, very construction area. And it just decimated the wilderness here. There's no other way to put it. It also shows how much money she has, because in order to afford doing that, we're talking, now I'm ballparking because I don't really know because I haven't done this because I can't afford it. I'm guessing it ran her probably $100,000 to $200,000, seriously. She created a road. She even put gravel down on the road. I know because I've had to gravel my road. I know the part of the road that she graveled alone costs $10,000 to $15,000. Road upkeep is gargantuanly expensive. Oh, I don't like hearing a siren. That means I gotta check to see if there's any forest fires going on right around here. Wish me luck. She took out all of these trees. She paid hundreds of thousands. She might be trying to put a house back there, although it's not zoned for that. But she opened up a huge part of the forest that's never been opened up before. I was out looking for my squirrel yesterday. It's day number 2 that she's out, but I was out there looking for one squirrel in the wilderness. Talk about having hope in the, in the face of, I mean, has anybody ever tried to find a squirrel in the wilderness? Sometimes my tenacity and hope is just not based in reality, but I was trying. You never know. Magic happens. Anyway, I went over to her side and I checked it out, and I popped out of the woods where I am. I popped out just instantly because the difference between woods and clear cut is just shocking, is the best way to put it. But what these guys did when they took out all of the trees, besides stacking them, they took all of the kindling, basically, and threw it onto my side of the property. So what they did is they made their property a little less able to get torched in a forest fire because there's less trees, and they raked the floor. But what they did is they took all of the little branches and the stuff that catch on fire really easily, and they just threw it over onto my side of the property.
Thank you.
You can be as mad as you want about federal level politics and all of the corruption happening nationally, but I'm going to tell you right now, every bit of that is supported with the corruption that's happening where you live. If you live in a rural place, you live in a place that is a little smaller, not a big city, I guarantee there's shady shit happening, and you're letting it happen. You're wasting all of your feelings on what's happening at the federal level that you can never impact. You will never be able to impact the federal level if you can't do it in your own town. Go dig in their shit. You want to be mad about corruption? Boy, go look through the minutes of your last Board of Supervisors meeting. And the one before that, and the one before that, if they're even making it available. Because I guarantee a lot of your local governments, they are not making information easily available. You have no idea what's happening where you live. You think you're pissed about corruption now? Wait until you see where the real corruption is at. And once you practice getting rid of the corruption where you live, we can move on.
to larger areas.
I'm going to say it loud and clear, so all you trumpets, pay attention. If we can't afford to feed people in need, to provide adequate medical care for children, if we can't afford to provide funding for schools and lunches for children in schools, then we sure as hell don't need a $200 million ballroom in the White House for 1% of the population. Make it make sense. Our food has skyrocketed. A lot of American families are struggling, yet we have money to build a ballroom in the White House? What is this, the 1800s? I don't understand how anybody can support this man any longer. For goodness sakes, he can't even dance. His ankles are so swollen over his feet that he can barely walk. So, yeah. I just wanted to put that out there. This country is falling apart. And the 1% are the ones tearing it apart. And the people that support this madness, when are you guys going to wake up? Again, make it make sense.
I'm Bobby Cole. I'm a lifelong Texan. I'm an East Texas farmer and a retired fireman. The Texas Republican Party is corrupt to the core. Its spineless devotion to Donald Trump is on full display, with Greg Abbott being the prize pony. All that this blind loyalty to MAGA has brought to the people of Texas is trampled freedoms, liberties, and rights. Common decency and dignity that Texas used to stand for is gone. Replaced with cruelty and division and a way of governance not for the people, but at the behest of only the ultra-rich and the powerful. We are here today to testify against the naked power grab ordered by Trump himself. This redistricting scheme will disenfranchise hardworking Black and Latino communities that deserve to be heard. It doesn't matter what maps you draw or how corrupt your reasoning is to justify it. So do your worst, because that's what you're best at. A reckoning is coming, and the people of Texas will render it on November 3rd, 2026.
So guys, after clearly watching this video, here is my deep critical analysis. So we are going to weave in together the themes of bankruptcy, the rising cost of living in conservative MAGA states, and the F around and find out, right? Which is set against the socio-economic backdrop of a Missouri town that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. So this is not just about Missouri town. It's about a time for consequences. And we know that consequences carry with them negative connotations, right? So these people are people who voted for freedom, but now they are even fighting to pay their rent, right? In communities where political loyalty to the MAGA movement is strongest, economic challenges, bankruptcy, soaring living costs, stagnating wages belie, and stagnating wages that continue to plunge down, there is that rhetoric of prosperity, right? The phrase F around and find out, once a cheeky internet slogan, had become an ominous cultural metaphor for what happens when consequences are ignored, right? Now, even in small towns in Missouri, often celebrated as pillars of conservative values, economic distress is rising. It's time to confront how policies and economic realities collide. The first thing we need to understand is the rising bankruptcy and the financial distress in MAGA states. Of course, with regards to the videos. And huge thanks to the original creators of those videos. First of all, we have bankruptcy trends. Republican-led states. We have Texas, we have Florida, we have Louisiana, we have Nevada, we have South Carolina are seeing sharp increases in financial distress and bankruptcy filings, right? Also, we have Missouri financial fragility. A 2023 index ranking states by financial vulnerability placed Missouri in 3rd place. So there was this index ranking which was made in 2023 and it placed Missouri in a 3rd place with an annual consumption of income at 91.2%, right? Which is a modest saving rate of 8.8% and a personal bankruptcy rate of 251 per 100,000 residents, second highest in America. Also, we have widespread economic pressure. Across the US, nearly 39% of households reported difficulty in affording usual expenses in early 2025, with southern and Appalachian states, including Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Kentucky, Texas, and notably Missouri neighbors have also been reporting the same strain, right? Or most of the strain. So that was about filing and the rising cases of bankruptcy. Another thing is we have a rising cost of living, right? Cost of living crisis, which meets there's a high cost of living, and that one, the first one was bankruptcy, sorry, and this other one is a rising cost of living. So while coastal states like California and New York have eye-popping living costs, stagnating wages mean that even lower cost states require a survival income of $50,000 plus for a family of 4. Essentials such as housing, food, child health care, and healthcare itself have soared, often outpacing salary adjustments. Yet, many communities in conservative strongholds have maintained support for policies like tax cuts, reduced social spending, and reduced regulation, even as those same policies may erode safety nets that could alleviate financial strain, right? So this FAFO, we know what FAFO means. We know the origins. It is just a catchphrase which has taken on political and cultural weight during the earlier times of Donald Trump with his misdeeds, you know. So for residents in economically distressed Missouri town, FAFO rings a doubly true. Ignoring mounting financial risk, rising debt and medical expenses, economic shifts only lead to greater fallout. You understand? And then we have it as an investor satire. Even calls it, right? Even the Missouris, now, what are the root causes? We have the structural choices and limited safety nets. We have medical debt, which remains a leading cause of personal bankruptcy for the Missourians and some other states in US. We have job loss, income shocks, and insufficient wage growth, which contribute heavily to financial collapse. We have policies such as the 2005 bankruptcy reform, which made it harder to file under Chapter 7, prolonging financial distress for many low-income families, right? So to conclude, This FAFO metaphor, right? The FAFO metaphor that now these white Missourians are facing has real world implication. In MAGA holding countries, or rather states, I told you there's Texas, there's Missouri, there's Alabama, there's South Carolina. In these states, there is economic neglect which is not without consequences. We have high bankruptcy rates, financial insecurities, and crashing cost of living pressures are outcomes, but not anomalies. You see? But what's the lesson from this? The steering economic policy towards equitable support, expanding healthcare access, stabilizing essential costs, reinforcing social safety nets has consequences too. We, or rather the white people, or rather the Missourians or the MAGA supporters, because we have black people who also voted Trump, how do they fix these real problems? Or do they still find out how badly people suffer when they don't? Or rather, when they make the wrong choice. You can't make a wrong choice and someone else is suffering for you. That's it, right? That's it. I hope that you've gained value from this, and if you have, be sure to subscribe. I'll surely appreciate. See you in the next one. Stay positive, and don't do a MAGA mistake. See you in the next one.